There is lots to get through with our guests this morning. Roshane Thomas from The Athletic and Sky Sports reporter Anton Toloui. Good morning to both of you. We're going to start with a sensational game at Anfield. Liverpool and Manchester City both failed to go top of the Premier League. They drew 2-2. Anton, how much did you enjoy that match?
Oh, it's magnificent, wasn't it? First half was interesting. Second half was just absolutely magnificent. It had everything, didn't it? It had controversial incidents. It had goals, more importantly. It had two of the best managers in the world sort of coming up with a tactic, the other one adapting, the other one kind of throwing something back. It was just had everything. It was so much fun to watch. And obviously, it was two best teams playing very, very well.
It did have a bit of everything, and it also had joint men of the match, which I've never seen before, Mo Salah and Phil Foden. Roshane, we love a bit of hyperbole. Is Mo Salah the best player in the world at the moment?
For me personally, I believe the best player in the world based on current form is Bayern Munich striker Robert Lewandowski. But look, Salah for sure deserves to be in the conversation. The goal he scored yesterday was just ridiculous. Brilliant performance, great work rate. That assist he provided from Sadio Mane was also good. I believe he's the best player in the Premier League, joint top scorer in the league alongside Jamie Vardy. And listen, I'm sure we'll get into it, but the priority right now for Liverpool should be to get Salah to sign a new deal because he's so important for him.
Well, that's it, Anton. His contract's up at the end of next season, so 2023. How important is it that Liverpool tie him down?
Oh, absolutely. You saw yesterday, Liverpool was, in that first half, Manchester City dominated Liverpool as that half wore on. The midfield three sort of played really well, and obviously the tactical tweak of playing Phil Foden out on the left confused Liverpool. But when Liverpool needed them in the second half, Mo Salah stepped up and he led Liverpool going forward, and that's what a top-class player does. I was really looking forward to working with Roshane because I completely agree with him because it's Ballon d'Or nomination week this week, and I do think Robert Lewandowski is probably the favourite to win that again this year. But it's consistency, isn't it? That's what you absolutely love and admire about Mo Salah. He brings it week in, week out. 22 league goals last season, 6 already this season. That's why people can talk about it. But I do agree with Roshane. I do think he's just ever so slightly off winning the Ballon d'Or this year. But if Liverpool continue to play they are, there's no reason why he can't go on and win it in the next couple of years. That's why Liverpool need to tie him down to a new deal.
Yeah, and Jamie Carragher saying after the game that Mo Salah will get into an all-time Liverpool 11. But Roshane, you've already mentioned Sadio Mane. What about him? It seems that they've almost got a sort of telepathic understanding, Salah and Mane.
For sure, and that's why Liverpool have done so well. Previous Premier League winners, Champions League as well. They formed a brilliant partnership. Perhaps, the envy of other clubs in the league. Many other clubs would love to have a similar partnership. And just to follow up from what Anton said earlier about why it's so important for Salah to sign a new deal. Look, its contract expires in the summer of 2023. I'd imagine a player like Salah will have aspirations to play for a club like Barcelona or Real Madrid. But I don't think they're that glamorous destinations right now. Both clubs are in a lot of debt. You have to look at someone like Philippe Coutinho, for example. He moved to Barcelona from Liverpool. Hasn't quite worked out for him. His form's been so bad, they had to loan him out to Bayern Munich. Eden Hazard, another example, left Chelsea, joined Real Madrid. Hasn't worked out for him. 5 goals, 51 appearances. So if you're Salah, after saying goals, the grass is always green on the other side. Stay at Liverpool. The fans love you. You're doing great right now. I don't think it would be wise for him to leave, in honesty.
And Anton, with Sadio Mane, does he get the respect that he deserves? Because sometimes with Salah, people say, oh yeah, he's not in great form. But then you look at the top of the goal scoring chart and he always seems to be up there. But the same can be said about Mane as well.
I think that's absolutely fair. I think Sadio Mane is obviously a fantastic player. He fits into that system really well. It's work rate as well as you get from Sadio Mane, isn't it? As well as just goals. It's interesting, isn't it? Because Liverpool have adapted. They've changed their front three. Firmino coming out in big games sometimes, Jota coming in. But the consistent ones who start week in, week out, Sadio Mane and Mo Salah. So yes, maybe we don't put enough respect on Sadio Mane's name, but it is the Mo Salah show even when it comes to the attacking threat from Liverpool.
Anton, we've praised Liverpool enough. Let's turn our attention to City now and Phil Foden. We maybe didn't see the best of him at the Euros, but he was sensational yesterday.
Oh, it was absolutely magnificent yesterday. And not just because, we all get excited because an English player is playing well in a big game in the Premier League, But look, it was the way that he ran the show, and again, especially in the first half. Liverpool didn't have an answer for Phil Foden yesterday. Phil Foden outshone a £100 million player in Jack Grealish yesterday as well. So, look, Phil Foden was absolutely brilliant, but also it's great to see the development of Phil Foden. Pep Guardiola's always insisted he's had a plan for Phil Foden. Well, now we are very much seeing what that plan means when it comes to fruition.
And Roshane, that £100 million man in Jack Grealish, what have you made of his start to the season and the start of his career at Manchester City?
It's been a slow start, only 1 goal, 1 assist in 7 league appearances. Considering Man City paid $100 million, we'd rather, perform more consistently. So it's for sure it's been a slow start. And as Anton touched on, Phil Foden was brilliant. And you sort of wonder, did Man City really need Jack Grealish? They had Mahrez, they have Jesus, they have obviously Foden, as we touched on, they have Sterling. Is he a player they really needed? We're sort of missing that clinical striker. We saw it in Salah and Mane, just being clinical in front of goal. And that's what Man City missed this season. So, listen, it's been a slow start for Grealish. I'm sure he'll come good at some point in the season, but not really the player they needed, in my opinion.
Seeing as you listed off those names, Roshane, what do you think is Manchester City's best front four? They've got an embarrassment of riches.
Yeah, well, Pep's been playing a 4-3-3 formation so far this season. So in terms of, let's say the main front three, I'll go with Phil Foden, Ferran Torres and Mahrez. I feel like that's what Pep should go with this season. I feel like they've all performed well. We've seen, I think yesterday, I think I'm right in saying that Grealish sort of played in a false nine. He didn't really play in that role at Villa, so it's going to be difficult for him. Phil Foden, as we touched on, generational talent, fantastic. Sterling's been finding it hard to get into the team, so as you touched on, strength and depth, competition for places, which I'm sure every manager loves to have. But if I were to go for a front three, it would be Foden, Ferran Torres and Mahrez.
Yeah, I mean, Anton, they do play with a number 10 as well, so you kind of think of front four, don't you? And I'm only just trying to work out now who I would have in it. It is actually quite difficult to fit them in, even if we are asking for 4, not 3.
Oh, boo-hoo, it's so difficult to fit so many wonderful players in my team. Oh, no.
Was that an impression of me? I don't sound like that.
I mean, no, I'm not going to do a North East accent, mate. I'm not going to do that. I mean, that'd be awful. I'd have to apologise to all the people in the North East after that, wouldn't I? But look, I think for me, I think Roshane's been a little harsher on Jack Grealish, because you look at all the players coming back from the Euros, the England players coming back from the Euros, not really many of them have hit top form. Obviously, Harry Kane isn't in top form. Mason Mount's only just started to see what he can do. Phil Foden's had a quiet start to the season before he exploded yesterday as well. So maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's the fact that Pep will change Jack Grealish's position week in, week out, as we saw yesterday when, like Roshane said, he played in 2 or 3 different positions during that match. So maybe just, I don't know, there's a big price tag, but just give him a little bit of time. It's just a little bit harsh here.
Anton, your lookalike, your doppelganger Pep Guardiola, apoplectic with rage on the touchline when James Milner wasn't sent off yesterday. I was going to say, how did he escape a second yellow card? He probably should have had 3.
Oh, thank you very much for the bald guy bias. If Pep Guardiola will be full of rage that you compared me to him. He's a very good-looking man. So
are you.
I'll take that. Thank you very much, mate. James Milner, I'd like to personally thank James Milner for showing that when you get to your mid-30s, life can get a little bit more difficult, because it was really difficult yesterday, wasn't it? Because he was struggling. It's not his natural position, and it probably was a second yellow card. But I think the frustrations from Manchester City, yes, they obviously boiled over because of that one incident. But the fact of the matter is Manchester City were the better team in the first half, and they went in drawing at half-time. And that was the ultimate kicker for Manchester City. They could have made a real statement in that first half when they dominated. They failed to, and therefore they got involved in a real sort of, gung-ho match in the second half afterwards, which they really, really wanted to avoid. And they could have done if they'd have taken their chances in the first half.
Roshane, you mentioned how sometimes players leave the Premier League for Real Madrid, Barcelona and others, and the grass isn't always green. Well, Pep Guardiola says that the Premier League is the best league in the world. Is there any doubt about that at the moment?
No, in my opinion, I think all 4 of us will agree that it's the best league in the world right now. When you think about the Premier League, what you love most is that, for example, you get the 3-3 draw between Brentford and Liverpool. You wouldn't really get that in La Liga or the Bundesliga. Bundesliga, for example, Bayern Munich, they win every year. In La Liga, Real Madrid and Barcelona. If Atletico win, you think, my goodness, Atletico won. Something must have gone wrong between Barcelona and Real Madrid. So the thing you love most about the Premier League is always some sort of excitement. So that's why, for sure, it's the best league best league in the world, and we'll get into it. But look, this season you could have Chelsea in contention to win, Man City, Liverpool. That's what makes it the best, in my opinion. So it's really good. And just to follow up, you said they had a question about Man City and what the front four that Pep would play. Well, hey, you got the big four between all of us guys, the big four right here. So
That's it. What a front four we would be. I'm sure defenders would be quaking in their boots.